Hi, everybody. It's Maria from What's the Story with Maria. How's it going? We're so happy you're here. Tonight is Tuesday, May 5th, 2026. I am coming to you live from Basie, Virginia, in the Shenandoah Mountains. We took a little weekend getaway, and I have a very special guest tonight. She is a speech pathologist. She is the owner of Silver Speech, Language and Feeding Pathology, and she's the author of a new book, and she just happens to be my friend and Judy's best friend. So I have to make sure I mention that. Her name is Marci Silver. Leo, hit that promo.
I'm a big fish in a small pond, got my days free and the nights long. I create my own reality, who I am is fine with me. As famous as I wanna be, who I am is fine with me. It's who I am, it's who I am.
Cinco de Mayo. Who is that? That is the beautiful voice of Leo Rodriguez. And that's right, who reminded us tonight that it's Cinco de Mayo. And if that means something special to you, that is wonderful. And someone being in the bar business for 40 years, Cinco de Mayo was always a huge night anywhere I work. Tonight I'm off, which is kind of cool, actually. So we've been away. Judy rented this beautiful, beautiful like lodge kind of place from Marci, a friend of Marci's who she built it. This woman built this beautiful place in Basie, Virginia. It's in the Shenandoah Mountains, and we came out. So me, Marci, Judy, and the little man. So our little grandson is here too, and he's so cute. Anyway, who's joined us already? John Pietero and Lori Towers from WFMU Radio in Manhattan. A beautiful end to a beautiful day. Well, because you're here, it's more beautiful, John and Lori. So Lori and John are musicians, they're poets, they're music historians, they're DJs, they are reviewers. Lori's a publicist. They're amazing human beings and our friends, and they check in with us every week. And in a little while, we'll have Leo pop on and tell us more about how you can find Lori and John on Wednesday nights. So Sudi Rick Caritas has joined us. He's out in the Palm Springs, LA. You're in LA though, right, Sudi, more than Palm Springs? So he's out there. You'll love Marci because Marci is bi-coastal. So she works out there and she works in New York. And yes, happy Cinco de Mayo to everybody tonight. I know it's a really fun night for a lot of people. As for me, as I said, as a bartender, I always worked it and we always had a really good time. So we will continue to have a good time. And tonight it's about our guests and it's about anything you want to talk about tonight. But we always have people join us. And, you know, if you folks have questions or anything like that, please let us know. Now, Leo created this little thing called Maria's Recommendations because I always have. There it is. Oh my God, Leo, who's better than you? So yes, because I always have some pick of the week or recommendation coming up. And first I want to apologize for my voice is a little hoarse because I've been on this medication and it's kind of messing with my voice a little bit, but it'll get better, I promise. So Maria's Recommendations, what am I recommending this week? So Julie Miller, who is the president of MAC, Manhattan Association of Cabarets and Clubs, has a roving open mic, a MAC roving open mic. And this month it's at Don't Tell Mamas on Tuesday, May 19th at 7 p.m. And what usually people sign up at 6:15. So if you want to sing in the open mic, just sign up by 6:15 at Don't Tell Mamas. It's free for MAC members. So if you're a MAC member and you want to be part of the open mic, you just show up at 6:15, sign up, and you don't have to pay a cover. If you're a non-MAC member, the cover is only $10, which is nothing. And you get to hang all night and listen to great singers. It's a 2-drink minimum, of course. And there's always a minimum. And they also have food, which is great. Don't Tell Mamas has great food. So you can, enjoy that. And that's a really good thing to put on your calendar because it's also a great way to meet other people in Mac or other great singers, or if you're a songwriter and you want to showcase some of your songs that other singers will do. It's a wonderful community. Mac is a wonderful community. So that's something that you can definitely do. I recommend that. And Julie Miller is one of the loveliest people you're ever going to meet. She's so welcoming and grounded and sweet and makes you feel like you're part of the family. Even if you've never met her before, I really like Julie a lot. I love Julie, actually. Colin, okay, our next recommendation is someone that I've known for like about 30 years. He was as nice then as he is now. He was less famous then. Now he's really hugely famous, but he is still the same amazing human being and funny as funny can be. Colin Quinn, he's been doing comedy for 30 years and so funny, and he really pinpoints ethnic groups and really nails it. He's so good about it. And he's had many one-man shows. Right now, he's going to be in Boston, which, is my hometown. A lot of our Boston listeners, if you're listening, Colin Quinn, nice Irish boy, is going to be at the Wilbur Theater in Boston. And I believe that's on Tremont Street. And that's Friday, May 22nd at 7:30. He's also going to be at the West Hampton Beach Pack in West Hampton, New York, the very next day, which is May 23rd, and that is at 8 p.m. So if you're a fan of Colin Quinn's and you're out there and you want to see him, even if you've never heard of Colin Quinn, which I doubt, I highly recommend you go see this. You will laugh, and not just laugh, but you'll learn a lot about history because he's a history buff and he's really a great guy. Especially my Irish friends in Boston, you will love Colin Quinn. So go and check it out. It's a nice date night out. You got Friday and Saturday, and he's just a really good guy. Like, I can't say enough about Colin Quinn as a human being and as a comedian. He was also on SNL for many, many, many years. Great writer for SNL, and also would appear, and funny as funny can be. He used to do Lenny the Lion. I don't know if you remember, Lenny the Lion would show up during the news, and I still laugh when I think about his character. And he does like a great New York Lion. So anyway, so those are my two recommendations. Let's see what people have to say here. Hold on. Sudi says, how's it Tuesday again? And my Cinco de Mayo song and video is on YouTube, A Grain of Salt and a Margarita. Well, Sudi, you are always writing something new. I mean, go ahead, Leo. What were you going to say?
He's hilarious. I'm following you. I'm just coming in for the next segment.
Yes, please. So anyway, Sudi always has some new song coming out. So what did you want to say, Leo?
Oh, I had some, some little scrolling fun for us to go through. So I thought maybe we would look at, play it again. Leo's favorite content.
I love it. Leo scours the internet for content. Go ahead.
I found this one. I think that you'll like. This is a throwback to anybody that is a Gen X. Let's see. Let's remove this, and we're going to share this. If anybody remembers great news reporting from great journalists of the day, and anybody remembers a journalist called Paul Harvey and the Paul Harvey News, one of my favorites ever. And I just found this. They're reposting these wonderful, wonderful stories, and it always starts with this.
The rest of the story. For one reason alone, shy little Carlos regretted his family's moving to the tiny town of Miami, Arizona. That reason was the kid next door. The boy's name was Bobby. He was a full-blooded Native American, same age as Carlos, same grammar school class, but a lot bigger. Now, Carlos was himself half Irish, half Cherokee. But apparently that wasn't good enough for Bobby, so every day after school he would chase Carlos home. Most days he would catch him and beat him up. But this is the rest of the story.
And he will go on to tell you about the rest of the story and how this little Carlos got beat up and triumphed over it. And it's a pretty long story. You get to listen to them. And that little Carlos turned out to be Chuck Norris.
No.
Yep, and Paul Harvey was great about finding these wonderful stories and
Wow.
giving you the back, like all the nursery rhymes. Hey diddle diddle, the cat and the fiddle, the cow ran over the moon. He gave us the story behind the story, which was about a lady who moved from England and told stories about the royal family back in the 1800s, and that's where
Wow.
we got. So Paul Harvey was a great journalist. He's definitely resting in peace now. But on Facebook, Instagram, I believe on TikTok, if you're there, if you look up the rest of the story, the rest on
Wow.
any of
It's
those, and
called The
you'll find
Rest of the
these wonderful,
Story.
the rest of the story by Paul Harvey, and he was a great journalist. And I remember going to sleep, taking naps from it being on the radio when I was young, and hearing these stories over and over, and it coming back. Just a throwback. So if you remember
Well,
Paul
thank
Harvey
you, honey.
and
Yeah, I
like that,
appreciate that. I love
that's
that.
my
I love
favorite
like
content.
great triumph stories, especially when it involves kids. And how cool is that? Well, thank you for sharing that, Leo. I appreciate that.
Paul Harvey, the rest of the story on all your content. They're digging up those old stories from, I think they're like 50s and 60s when he was telling the story up into the 70s.
I love that.
And this wonderful, great true, good old fashioned journalism.
Yep. Love it, honey. Well, thank you, Leo, and happy Cinco de Mayo to you. Did you do anything today with your kids?
No, I wait until September for the true celebration that Mexicans actually celebrate for their independence from I'm sorry, from I believe it was Spain
Yeah,
when we
probably.
fought. And this one tends to be more of a, like you said, a holiday where people go into bars and celebrate.
Right, right. So it's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, honey, for sharing that. That was really nice. I appreciate it. And thank you for all the great stuff that you do. I don't know where I'd be without Leo. So big round of applause for Leo
Oh, great.
Rodriguez.
I know how you have a bigger round of applause for our new May model.
Our Mayma. Oh, look at this. So who is this? Everybody is wondering. Well, this is our calendar, or nothing but the apron calendar, our 2026. And who is Mr. May but Scott Ryan and his little dog Sparky? So now you notice Scott has also hiked up his apron. I don't know what it is
Hmm.
with these boys, but they always hike up
He's
their
showing his tattoo. He's showing his tattoo. That's what it
Oh, that's
was.
why. So yes, it is Mr. May. Mr. May, Scott Ryan. He is in real estate in Miami, well, Fort Lauderdale and Miami area. And we love Scott. He was actually my old roommate, and we worked at the Duplex together. I started piano bar with him at the Duplex in
Oh wow.
1998. 1998. He was my coworker along with Michael Isaacs. So Scotty and I have a lot of history, and he's just a lovely person. And I went to his wedding in Fort Lauderdale, and just had a great time. He's a great, great, great guy. And his birthday, I believe, is May 5th, 17th, maybe May 16th, May 15th, 16th, or 17th, one of those. And so he's a May guy. So we're happy that Scott is our May guy, and we'll be seeing him every Tuesday now.
Oh wow.
Yeah, every
Well, that's
Tuesday
right, for a month.
for a month. So with Sparky, of course. So anyway, thank you for sharing that, Leo. Danielle Alexandria Alchemy has joined us. Hi, Danielle. How you doing,
There
honey?
you are. The
I
show
know.
was almost late today.
I know. Hey, guys. So sorry. I've been busy, still moving last week and this week. I'm all over the place, but always here in spirit. Well,
Yay.
no pun intended, since she's here in spirit, because Danielle is a psychic, a medium, a past life regressionist. She does spirit animal readings. She does all that stuff. She speaks to the other side, and she is the real deal. I can attest to that. Many of our friends have gotten sessions. We can't say enough about Danielle. So D, we're happy you're here, honey. Very happy to see you. Okay. So now brings us to the reason we're here. You know, I always have a special guest or two. And tonight we were away, and I always am like, I like to wait till the last minute sometimes, because I'm like, I want it to be authentic. And who do I really want to have on for a guest, unless people plan ahead of time or whatever. But we were all away together. So me, Judy, the baby, and Judy's best friend, and my friend Marci Silver. And I said, hey, Mars, you want to be a guest on my show? And she said, sure. Now even without her new project, we could talk for hours about what she does. She works with kids. and it's amazing. But she's writing has written a brand new book that's going to be out soon. So, ladies and gentlemen, Leo, you ready?
I am
Give
ready.
your hands, give it up for Marci Silver of Silver Speech. There she is. Oh my God. Leo's going to pop out in a minute and then we'll have the screen. Oh, there we are. Okay. So this is Marci. Marci's amazing. And she's not like me. She's not a big, loud personality. Marci is one of those like steady, get things done people, behind the scenes kind of people that gets wonderful work done. And she's been, you've been a speech pathologist for how many years now?
Yeah, I got my license in 2001, so it's been about a long time,
wow.
25 years or so, yeah.
Wow, time flies, huh?
Yeah.
And your mother did that as well, right? So
Yeah, my mother was a speech therapist as well, so I followed in her footsteps eventually.
Did you ever work with your mom? Did you ever like follow her to work or no? Like how did you know what she did and how did it inspire you?
Well, actually, I had a lot of instances that happened in my life that made me want to be a speech therapist. But yeah, my mom was a speech therapist, but my brother was a stutterer. So I grew up with a brother who had a stutter. My grandfather had a stroke. And I grew up with, friends that had autism, and it was like very new at the time, and a friend that had cerebral palsy. So it kind of was meant to be. But my mother retired or, stopped doing speech pathology when she had both my brother and I. And then later, when I moved back from New York City to Connecticut to save some money that I had spent in New York City, I brought her back to work because I was like, we need somebody. So she came to work with me for 2 years at an elementary school. So
That's
that
so
was
cool.
fun.
I didn't know that. That's
yeah,
so cool.
Yeah. So it was nice to work with her and see how amazing she is with kids.
She's
too,
great.
so.
She's great with adults too. She's a beautiful person. Oh, that's a nice story, Marci. I didn't know that your mom worked with you. So you've worked in hospitals, you've worked in schools, right? You work with private patients or clients, as you call them. All ages, right?
Yes, I work from birth to end of life, basically.
Wow.
Most of my company does kids only because of the nature of New York City and how that works, and in California, but I do work with adults as well.
And when did you become kind of a bi-coastal company? Or
yeah, I would say that I started to be more bi-coastal during pandemic, like during that time. And I thought, why not? Like, let's see what, the other on the West Coast looks like. And I was able to network with an occupational therapist out there. So I work at Theraplay LA in Mid-City, Los Angeles. That's where my office is. And then I am in New York City, and I pretty much cover all the boroughs. And I'm also licensed in Connecticut as well. So,
wow.
Yeah.
That's a big deal, Marci. And what are some of the things that people come, like you get calls from clients, and what are some of the situations that they call and say, I have a child that, so what are some of the situations that you might be presented with?
Yeah, I mean, I usually get calls around 2 years old because that's when kids, parents are like, oh no, my kid's not talking and they're 2 years old. So that's one of the things that I get calls for. And then I also get calls for, autism, cleft palate, any feeding difficulties. A lot of children are born premature now, and so they're hooked up on machines very early, and so they don't learn the natural way to feed. So that's another area that speech pathologists work with. So the muscles that we use for eating and we learn to eat with are the muscles we learn for speaking. So if any of those steps were missed during the feeding process, will impact or sometimes impact speech as well.
I didn't know that. That's fascinating, actually.
Yeah.
And what's the youngest age you've worked with? 2 or younger than that?
Younger than that. So I work usually with kids from 4 to 6 months who are they're they're moving from the bottle or the breast to solid foods. And so a lot of times families panic when kids don't like food or aren't eating and they're choking or they're coughing or they're saying, oh, I don't like the food. So, or the child's, aversive to foods. So that's kind of when I get the phone calls around 4 to 6 months for some of the feeding cases. And then of course, some of the kids are born with, a syndrome or, they had a stroke in utero or at birth. So that's when I start to see children at 4 to 6 months or so.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah. And Marci is, I'll remind you, is in all 5 boroughs in New York. If you're hearing this and saying, I think my child or someone I know could use this. So Marci's in New York and in California. These are 2 places, and Connecticut. She's licensed in Connecticut as well. So we're just going to stop for a second. My cousin Rena Crignali-Bergi has checked in from Massachusetts. Hi, beautiful people. Hello, Rena. Now, we have so many young kids in our family. Oh, my God. There's babies happening everywhere. And as a matter of fact, Judy's grandson is with us. Judy brought our grandson, and he is so cute, and he is crazy about Marci. It's like ridiculous. We were laughing. We were like, he's just drawn to her. It's like, and she had him doing all these amazing things, like that you would think, why didn't he pick that up when we were doing it or something? So Marci just has a real way with kids that is so gentle and wonderful, and that they're drawn to. So I can tell you from firsthand how great her work is. So I just wanted to put that out there. Now, Marci, we were talking about COVID earlier, right? That a lot of people, just during COVID, we all had a lot of time and we were alone. We couldn't necessarily communicate, be in the same room as other people. So something happened which made you now you're going to have a book soon out, right? And so this is pre-launch, folks. This is like you're really getting the behind the scenes of the pre-launch. But so you started to tell me the story. So why don't you tell everybody the story of your book?
Yeah, sure. So 2020, March 2020 happened. Everything went into lockdown. I had actually interviewed for a company that was doing telehealth before lockdown. And then we went into lockdown, and I thought right away I had to be creative and go do telehealth on my own with no experience. And, that was a whole project. You have to be creative when you're starting something new. So that happened where I went from, in-person sessions to telehealth. And then, it was December 29th, 2020. And my friend's mom up in Maine, she was on the news because she had saved a goat that ran away from the vet in Belfast, Maine. And so the goat was at the vet, and all of a sudden was like, I'm not going to the vet, and just sprinted across a busy highway, ran to the ocean, jumped into the Penobscot Bay, and swam about a mile. Meanwhile, my friend's mom, who lives there, is like stirring her chili. She's like, I'm going to have a nice, easy day. She is not. She runs to danger. She saves people. She'll take on anything. She sees the animal control officers, which are the policemen in Belfast, Maine, running through her yard all the way down to the water. And she's like, oh, something's going on. And so her husband was like, oh, I'm going to go check out what's happening. He doesn't come back up. She goes, I guess I'm not having a relaxing day stirring my chili. She goes outside. They're like, there's a goat on the loose. And she gets to the water, and there's animal control officers knee deep in water, and the wind is blowing. It's bone chill cold. Nobody knows what to do. She grabs her kayak. She jumps in the water. She starts rowing, and the waves were pretty intense. It was a very windy day, and the goat was swimming. And now goats are afraid of water. And he was at the vet because he had something on his chin that he needed to, get checked out. It was infected. And so this goat ran to water, and then she she was able to save this goat and bring him to safety about a mile down the road. Meanwhile, the owner is trying to find the goat that ran away. She drove down all these streets. She stopped at a co-op and grabbed some bananas because she knew that she would be able to, that was his favorite treat. So she was able to get this goat to shore with the help of, her neighbors and everybody cheering her on and corralling him in. And then once they got him on this rocky beach, there was 200 stairs up, because you know how Maine is hilly and rocky. It's not a sandy beach. They had to get this 200-pound dairy blend goat up 200 flights of stairs.
Wow.
And so it took them 1 foot at a time to get this goat to safety. And, it was like he could have died of hypothermia. They put a blanket around him, and he made it safely back to the vet. So that's
now one thing I want to that you told me about the goat. He wasn't just a regular goat. He was a disabled goat, right?
Yeah. So so after this was all over, my friend's mom was all over the news because there was nothing positive happening in the news. So the news went to Belfast, Maine. The Boston news came down and was like, tell us more. And so I was like, and I'm bored in,
COVID?
New York in my 600 square foot apartment. And I'm like, this is a really good children's book. This should be a children's book. Let me see if anybody's offering to write this children's book. Sure enough, my friend's mom's like, you're writing the book. And I said, all right, I'll take on the challenge. I had nothing else going on. And she's a painter up in Maine, in Belfast, Maine. She's an amazing painter. And I said, well, why don't you illustrate the book? Why don't you paint the pictures? So this is actually the first painting that she did of this amazing save that she made, this rescue. And she painted a bunch of pictures, and I was like, all right, let's write the book together. And, we worked really hard at writing a really good draft, and then we sent it to the editor. And the editor, obviously editors do what they do. And so it went in a different direction. The editor said, oh, it should be a children's book from 5 to 8 years old, which I was grateful for because that's pretty much the target audience that I was thinking of to use as my work. And my friend, who's an amazing painter, was like, I'm retired, I'm done painting, I'm good. And I was like, that's great. Can I take it and run with it? And she gave me the opportunity to do that. So I was able to hire an illustrator and, continue my writing. And so 6 years later, it's been a journey. It should be out, I plan on having it published very soon. It's in the formatting stages.
But so you read it today, and was it today or yesterday? You read it to Liam, and he's only 10 months, and he was fascinated. And what I love about the story, because it gets you all choked up, because it's not just about this goat by himself, and there's beautiful little illustrations for kids in there. I love the paintings and I love the illustrations, and I love that it's both. Like we talked a lot about that, but there's another character. There's a seagull, right? And I love that the seagull helps the goat. And they kind of I love the whole friendship thing. I've always loved that, where one personality helps another totally different personality. So there's that. And it's just this really, and then the woman who rows out there, which really did happen. Your friend really did row out there and save this goat, and the fact that a woman, this amazing woman got out there and saved this goat. So there's so many elements for kids, there's being a hero, helping a friend, giving someone confidence, not being afraid, or doing it even though you are afraid. These are all things I got from the book. And then, when he got him back to shore, he still had another battle with the stairs. So the book had so many levels of lessons for kids and I think adults, because I always cried when I read a children's book. I'm always there are certain books that I just love. So this was one of those books that I just know it's going to be a huge like hit of the heart because it's just a beautiful story. So Leo, can you show that cover again? So tell everybody what the name of the book is.
So the name of the book is called The Goat Getter. And, you know, it's full circle. The Jerry saved the goat, but the goat actually saved Jerry as well. It's kind of a full circle. And then there's this seagull spirit who, you know, takes him to the ocean and sort of guides him. But, you know, I had done a ton of research. I went up to Maine and met the owner and met the goat. And the goat's name is Poorfoot because he was born with a broken, twisted foot.
Wow.
And his mother is the one who healed him, put, you know, a splint on his leg. And it's called the Maminarian in the book. So yeah, the mom, you know, healed him to health, but all the other animals on the farm were like, you know, and he would go to the vet and they didn't get to leave the farm. So he got to see that there's something else out there. And so the vet was right near the ocean. So he would smell the ocean all the time, but he never got to go. And then the last time he was like, I'm out of here. I'm not going to the vet. This isn't working. And it's, you know, it's basically because I work with a lot of neurodivergent population, and it's all about, you know, goat your own way.
I love that.
You know, everything's divine timing. Like, you know, your kid can't speak yet. Your kid can't sign yet. Your kid can't eat yet. Because eventually it will happen. Everything, you know, it's possible, basically. And so it's about, you know, taking a risk and feeling fearful, being fearful and doing it anyway, feeling scared and knowing that there is help, and asking for help. So at the end, he surrenders to nature, you know, because the tide got a little heavy there. So yeah, it's, you know, it took a long time to put it all together, and I had different personalities working in it. I had different artists, different illustrators, and I was able to tie it all together. And the beauty is I can use it as a learning tool for my clients. I'm a communication specialist, which communication is not always my strong suit. Communication, teach what you most need to learn. That is my passion and my purpose. So yeah, I mean, I think that, neurodivergence is on the rise, because we know more about it. And, I love that this show is about creativity, because I think that, my job is creative every day because I have to work with children, and they make me present. They keep me present, which I'm so grateful for. But this was like a whole other level of creativity for me that I was scared. At times I just wanted to give up. I wanted to pack it in because I was like, there's too many voices in my head, too many people giving their opinions, too many, I'm unsure of myself about this whole thing. And, in the end, the process, it was all about go your own way. Do you, write it the way you want to do it. So that's how it's going to be.
I love that. I love all of that, everything that you said about, and all, teach what you need to learn. And also, I love to do it even if you are afraid, because I think most of us in the day to day, even though we do whatever it is we do for a living or a calling, we are lots of times afraid, you wouldn't think so, but we are, but we just get up there and do it anyway. And I think kids, this is a great lesson for kids. I think animals are wonderful spirits. And I love that you call the bird spirit, Now you also said something about the goat and Capricorn, right?
Yeah, so it was December 29th, 2020, which is Capricorn, which is sea goat. So that,
crazy is
I'm very into astrology. And so it's interesting that, it's a Capricorn. I'm an Aries. My best friend's a Libra. You're a Gemini. And
So we all get along.
And then Jerry, who saved the goat, Jerry Finch, is a Leo. So lots of fire going on, lots of, but I really took to that. Because goats are afraid of water, and that goat was not afraid of water, or wanted that water, dreamed of that water, and he didn't let that stand in his way.
Even with a bad foot,
Yeah.
that to me is so moving, because I know a lot of handicapped people. Also, my mother was handicapped. So she was the toughest chick I ever met, So, and Rena knows, it was my cousin Rena's, her mom and my mom are sisters. Leo, you want to say something, honey? Because I see you popped in.
I hear Fleetwood Mac. You can go to your own way.
I heard that all day today.
That's so funny. My friend Eric did the same thing. He texted me and started singing the goat song. I was like, wow, you're right.
I love that. Well, one of the things that Marci mentioned today was, once the book is launched and, things grow into many other things as well, right? You start something and then you never know where it's going to go. But one of the things is you said that maybe someday there will be like some music that goes along with it, or maybe like a board game. You mentioned that as well, or other tools that you can use to teach in class, right?
Yeah, so I'm going to be creating, and I always think now, reading is not a lot of people read anymore, right? It's really different. We're simplifying, we're going back, we're devolving, we're using emojis, we're not reading like we used to. So we have to be creative. And so, I have other ideas in mind, like a board game for this book, and some iPad apps, and figurines and stuffed animals, and, a whole curriculum. And at the end of the book, it's all about who's your go-getter. And take a picture with your go-getter, write a sentence about your go-getter, interview your go-getter, or what makes you a go-getter, or why do you want to be a go-getter someday? So it's more going to be like a curriculum in itself too.
Well, Leo works with kids. He has a whole camp and an after-school program, all ages, right, Leo?
5 through 14. The average age is usually 7 to 12.
Yeah. So this, I mean, can't you see this as something that you kids would love? Like the whole curriculum? Totally. Yeah. And Leo does a lot of like great stuff with his kids, where like lessons and dreaming. And
we're working on comprehension stuff right now.
Yeah, but he's always working on something new, and it's just amazing, And the skills, I mean, I even remember being like a little kid, like the skills I learned early on and the lessons I learned from those amazing teachers are still with me. They never leave you, So Leo, would you say that in the last, like I definitely think as a teacher, in the last 20 years, teaching has changed a lot?
Oh yeah, there's definitely, you're doing more things in the classroom than you are, and teaching becomes secondary. There's so much stuff that you have to do, and I think it's more that they put labels on everything and requirements on everything, because I think teachers have been doing the same thing for many years. I think with less overhead management, though, they were able to be more direct and successful. I think it's harder for teachers nowadays, that they do impact with kids, but they're struggling to handle their own lives or their second jobs or whatever they have to do to support themselves and, get supplies for their kids and stuff. It's much harder. And
would you find that
different.
that thing? Yes. And would you find that kids are reading less and going more towards their iPads, things like that?
I believe for a while, but I believe that there's a resurgence in the importance of reading again. Absolutely. And story times and stuff. During summer camp, we have a downtime because we have such a wide range of 5 to 14-year-olds that I put in a downtime mandatory for certain ages because you can't be at a camp or a school all day long. And during that time, they don't necessarily want to, close their eyes. So I read a story. I've gone back to Charlotte's Web. I've gone back to Tales of a Fourth Grade Nothing and all the fun books. And that's what I do. I love reading to them during story time.
And they love it, right? They love it.
Yeah, so the Go-Getter's going to be in my library. I can tell you.
I know. I'm telling you,
so
I know
great.
that Leo is that kind of teacher. And,
We have Butchie. My kids love the Butchie books as well, so we do a lot of support for any kids' books that come on my way, at least.
Oh, I love that. Okay, well, I told Marci on this show we do have a food section of the show. Now, tonight is going to be very strange because
Virginia ham.
Well, I wish we didn't have a lot of options up here. Like there was not the restaurants are very far. Everything's way far away. We brought a certain amount of food, but we kind of ate it all. Yesterday, Marci and I went like looking for a store and we found two one was like a country store and the other one was kind of like a 7-Eleven-ish store. So tonight is camp. It's kind of like we're on vacation camp food. So Marci chose the DiGiorno pizza, right, Marci?
Yeah.
Marci grabbed it right away.
The country store had one pizza on the shelf.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, this store, like you walked in and there was just a few things on the shelf and like some batteries and maybe like a scrub brush, like a plunger. And there was also a DiGiorno pizza. So this is what's left. This is what's left of our DiGiorno pizza. Now for our salad, we always have salad. What's left is the tomatoes I brought from Trader Joe's.
Oh my goodness.
That I had in the refrigerator. I've been eating some tomatoes here. So that's it. And for dessert, this is all we have left. Some gummy bears. This is our camp food. That's it. We don't have any food tonight except what we brought. And
no s'mores?
Well, we
ate those.
We ate those, but Judy ate them apart. Like she kind of ate the Hershey's. Then she
compartmentalized her s'more.
Yes. Then she toasted the marshmallow on the gas, whatever it was that's in the place, and she was toasting it a little bit. Then Marci ate the graham crackers, but there were s'mores. This place is amazing, and a friend of Marci's actually built it. It's incredible. It's beautiful. Do you have the pictures I sent you by any chance, Leo?
No.
It's just such a beautiful place. It's in Virginia. It's in the Shenandoah Mountains. And it's just like we got here and it's like so pretty and so relaxing. And I've never been to Virginia in all my years, so it was really nice to be here. But it's just a beautiful place. Have you been here before?
I have, only because my freshman year of college, I played soccer and I went to school in Pennsylvania, Carlisle, Pennsylvania, and we would take our van and drive to play soccer in the Shenandoah Valley. There's a bunch of colleges, I think, in the Shenandoah Valley.
Wow.
So I played soccer in some of these
Marci
places.
played some sports. You played soccer and you played softball, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And did you play volleyball too?
Basketball.
Look at that. And also, isn't this like close to Tennessee, or am I mistaken? I want to see the Shenandoah Valley. Maybe the other side of it is like Tennessee, but because of it, I have. Oh, there it is. Thank you, Leo. So look at how beautiful this place is, and talk about creativity. This young woman had this piece of land, and she designed this whole place. Like, it's so beautiful. It's just so beautiful. You can't imagine how beautiful this place is, and just every detail. And I don't have that gene. That's gorgeous. Thank you for showing those, Leo. I don't have that gene. Judy has that gene. Judy is incredible at looking at a space and knowing how to make it better, break walls down, construct things, paint things, what to choose, what not to choose. She really has that eye.
She did my apartment.
That's right.
She's my designer in my apartment. Yeah.
And your best friend.
And my
We
best
have
friend.
to talk about that because she'll be upset if we don't. But so Judy has that eye where she can look at someone's apartment like yours and know what to. And you were okay with that,
Oh
right?
yeah, I'm not one of those
Me
people
neither.
either.
I'm not so good at that stuff either. So creativity comes in many shapes and forms and all that stuff. So that's our food. Now we have 10 minutes left to our show. It always flies by. Marci, first of all, I want to ask you, I didn't ask you this before, but when you were a kid growing up, did you have a favorite book that you read over and over and over again? Something that stayed with you as a kid?
I mean, I'm a reader. I'm still a voracious reader. As a children's book, yeah, I loved Curious George. That was one of my childhood books that I remember, all of the child. And then as I got older, I love the classics. So I still like to read those because you forget. And then I like historical fiction and I like true stories based on true stories. So
Yeah.
this is, full circle, me being able to write something that's happened, but then turn it into magic, creativity, imagination.
I love
So-
that. Yeah, absolutely. I as a kid, I read a lot too. I used to love to go to the library. Like I couldn't wait to go to the library and pick out that book. I couldn't wait. It was like so exciting. Leo, were you the same way? Were you a reader as a kid?
Yeah, especially in my teens. I was a big Encyclopedia Brown was one of my favorites as a kid. The Hardy Boys. I like the mysteries. I went through
Yeah.
a big phase of Edgar Allan Poe.
Oh,
Like
wow.
13 to 17. I've
Yep.
noticed that between that age, kids love the macabre and the ghost stories and the used to love the choose your own adventure ones. Do you remember those ones?
I
You get to like, do you go in the journey or do you take the other path? And then you go to a different page and you follow those.
Oh.
And then, Judy Blume was great. And then what just came out, which I totally loved when I was in high school, Wuthering Heights. Oh, that was a great story. I love the classics like that.
The new movie just came out, right?
I know. Heathcliff. Phil Heathcliff.
Yeah, I just read that today. But I love the Nancy Drew books, but I read them all. Like I just couldn't get enough of it. And the Hardy Boys, I loved all those mysteries. And then I loved anything that had to do with a wizard, like Merlin and the King Arthur series. Like I was just fascinated with King Arthur. But wizards have always been like a thing for me, even as a kid. So I love anything that has like that magical element. And then when I became a teenager, The Outsiders, like that was my stuff.
Oh yeah, S.E. Hilton was
Yes.
one of my favorites. I remember reading a book called "Find a Stranger, Say Goodbye," and I was
Oh.
in the height of my teens, and it was about a young girl who went to find her mother in New York. And her mother
Oh my
was
God,
a model,
that's
became a
intense.
model or whatever. And as an adopted kid, yeah, I was just totally like, so you know what I was looking for when I went to New York, right?
Oh my God, I love that. Actually, I directed Leo's show at the Duplex, which Marci knows very well. It was about his journey as an adopted kid, finding,
It's the emotions and the things you go through when you're,
Yeah, that was a
the effects
beautiful
of
show.
adoption.
Yeah.
That was a beautiful show, Leo. I love that show.
That's cool.
Okay, so now what I always ask my guests to like kind of this, because this is a show about all kinds of creative types, and the people that have been on the show and listened to the show are chefs, they're artists, they're singers, they're songwriters, they're authors. And actually I want to shout out because I just lent Marci Jonathan Liebson's book, Hello and Goodbye to All That, New York Changing in the 21st Century. So I want to shout out Jonathan Liebson again, who was my neighbor when I lived on Houston Street for many years. Jonathan, if you're listening, he often listens to the show. I love your book so much.
Me too.
Oh, Marci loved it too. And it's just like,
I loved it.
right? It's beautiful. Leo, I have to send it to you because as a guy that lived in New York, You're going to love it. And also, in a few weeks, we're going to have our friend Joe Gullah on.
I was just thinking of that right now.
Yep, Joe Gullah's been on our show before, but he just wrote a beautiful, beautiful book.
Get
called
tissues.
Get Tissues Ready. It's called Last August. It's about his mom and Alzheimer's. And I don't think I've cried that hard, especially on the train, in a long, long time. So our writers, if you are a writer, Marci, thank you for writing. Thank you for keep people reading. Jonathan, Joe, these happen to be friends of mine, but writers out there are so important. And if you are a parent, please continue to get your children to read. I know it's so easy to turn on the television. I do it myself. So easy to just put on something or the internet or whatever, but an actual physical book or, now they have we had Vinny Palumbo on our show a couple weeks ago, and he wrote a beautiful children's book where you can actually go to audiobooks and listen to it. And then they have the pictures that go with it. So there's a lot of creative ways now to get your children engaged in the written word. So to speak.
Parents, don't give up. Don't give up. No matter what affiliation or what difficulties or adversity your child may have in reading, there's ways to get around it. Look at a lot of people before us, before we even had any of these diagnoses, they went on to become brilliant, magnificent. Look at Da Vinci, all these people that had these.
Well, even Einstein.
Einstein. And look what they did. So don't give up, parents. It's hard. Yes.
Absolutely.
I see it all the time working with little kids. They have some dyslexia, but you give them tools. You help them give tools. That's what Marci's here for, is to help give people tools so they can work on their speech, work on their reading, and follow through. So don't give up, parents.
Absolutely. And I want Marci to talk about that more. Also, my friend Rebecca Whiteman, I just saw her on because I have two screens going. And she's amazing, and she has two. I think they're teenagers now, Rebecca, right? But we were in Tony and Tina's together, and so she can attest to that. So Marci, kind of, what Leo said, but your own version of it. You work with kids all the time and adults with challenges. What do you think, as a creative person, as an educator, as someone that is presented with a challenge, what is some words of hope that you can
I mean, you always want to meet the person, the human, where they're at. And so again, I always say to families, there's no wrong way to play, there's no wrong way to communicate, there's no wrong way to read. You want to start with what they're motivated by. And the best teachers can teach with this bag of tomatoes. You can do an entire lesson with this bag of tomatoes. You don't need any fancy toys. You can get a lot of language and play and speech and reading through this bag of tomatoes.
Well, I'm going to say you did that with Liam and a box. We were talking about that today. Just a box that he, I just watched you work with him. It was mind-blowing, and how he was so locked in, and taking things out, or let's say hello, let's, knocking on it. So many amazing things, and what you said today is sometimes you don't need expensive toys,
They want the box. They want the tool they're not supposed to have. And, with kids, it's they want engagement. They want, your attention. They want the physical face. They don't want they don't know any better. So we always put things in front of them that, deter them from wanting the actual thing. But I always say, a child can't learn under unless they get stuck under something. A child can't learn on unless they're standing on top of a table. They can't learn to turn a page if they don't have a page to turn. Wow. So this is we are going back to the basics here. And, that's what makes children so beautiful, is that they are present. They are in the present tense, and that's what I learned from them is stay present and stay curious. And that, spending time with Liam this weekend, like he's curious and he's, in the playpen and like, get me out of here. I want to see what else is out there on this, on this trip. So, I'm super grateful. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Oh my God,
like
this is wonderful.
It really means the world to me. And thanks for believing in me to like have me on the show.
And I've seen your work
so
many years now, but also it's like I've also seen you adjust and bring kids into certain things. Like life has changed so much and you just adjust with it. That's a really good teacher that adjusts with change. So let's remind everybody, this is Marci Silver of Silver Speech, your voice, your life. And Marci is tell everybody again what your company is, Silver Speech.
I'm a speech language feeding myofunctional therapist.
Now, do you do for like if someone's not in California or not in New York, do you do virtual?
Yes, I do have a telehealth business. During COVID, it was like they let us see whoever. I was seeing people all over the world. I had a client in Guam who was in the military and I was seeing children there. But now they've, because they want our money, you have to be licensed in the place that you do your work.
Okay.
So that kind of, I just always say that to families because, you have to, stay within your scope and also within your license. But I do telehealth as well. And I do give free meet and greet consultations just so that, if you need help and I can find you a therapist in your area if I am not there. And I try to do research for people.
That's wonderful. So to remind everybody, Marci is licensed in New York, Connecticut, and California. Right?
Correct, yeah.
So if you're any of those places and you would like a telehealth, visit, Marci's your girl too. And just so many great things. So again, let's remind everybody of the book, Leo, if you don't mind, that Marci wrote.
And it'll be available on Amazon eventually, probably within a couple months. And I will let you know when
you
that
let
happens.
me know, and then I'll put it on my Facebook page and we'll put it all over. You can find us on what'sthestorywithmaria.com, which Leo designed that whole website, and he maintains my website on mariagentili.com as well. But so you can go there. We'll post it on that. I post it on my Facebook wall, my personal page, and I'll post it on my What's the Story with Maria page as well, so when it's available on Amazon, so everybody can get it. And listen, it doesn't matter. It's just a beautiful book. I loved it, and I'm in my 60s. I loved it. I was all emotional. It's beautiful, but especially if you have kids. And Liam was fascinated, absolutely fascinated. So Marci, thank you. Thank you, honey.
So much.
Thank you. This has been great. Leo, thank you. And everybody that's checked in, please feel free to share the show with anyone you want. Everybody knows somebody that has kids, or even adults that have challenges, or people that have had strokes or struggling with language or anything like that. Marci can help you. Okay, so one more thing. I always ask my guests to leave us with something positive. If you are facing if you're a creative and you're facing a little bit of a challenge, whether you're afraid to do something or whatever it is, what advice would you give, just as not that you've experienced in your life? What advice would you give people to staying creative?
You want me to give advice?
Yeah.
Oh, on keeping it.
Just staying creative.
Just staying in the day. I give myself a pat on the back if I do like 2 things for that project. It could be just sending an email. It could be just writing a sentence. It could be writing a word. You have to go that simple sometimes, because it can be frustrating. And the biggest obstacle is like what's between your ears, your brain. So sometimes you need to like move a muscle, change a thought, put it down, come back to it. I did that many times with this project. And then some people just come into your life that, can help you along too, or give you a new idea, or give you confidence to keep going with that same idea. So I am grateful for that.
Words of wisdom from our friend Marci Silver of Silver Speech. So, and the book is The Goat Getter. Leo, I'm excited about the book. Are you?
I think it's awesome, but I don't understand what she meant. There's nothing between my ears.
Well, Leo, I wouldn't say that. He's silly. He's a silly guy. Everybody, thank you. It's Cinco de Mayo. So happy Cinco de Mayo if you celebrate that.
Don't drink and drive.
Don't drink and drive. What did Jerry Diefenbach used to say? Don't drink and drive. And if you do, for God's sakes, have a car. Jerry he was on our show last week. He's so fun. But anyway, we love and appreciate you. We're here every Tuesday from 9 to 10 Eastern. And you can watch us in reruns. You can go to our page on YouTube. And this is episode 448, right, Leo? Mm-hmm. 448. Marci Silver is our guest. Thank you, Marci. Thank you, Leo. And we'll see you next week.
Bye, humans.
Bye, everybody.